Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another dispatch. I am in my home. The power, I believe, is still out in my studio, along with the Wi-Fi. There were high winds this week in Colorado. So the utilities company for Boulder uh, shut down the power because of the power lines they didn't want there to be. Falling power lines and then fire. But I'm in Longmont and we have power. So that's good. I like that. Anyway, waiting for the power to come back to the studio. Um, yeah, that's the news. And then that's very bright in in the Zoom recording, but it's not that bright. In fact, it's just what the camera's doing. Sorry about that. Anyway, okay, here we are. I'm gonna continue from artwork by Sally Mann. This is the introduction, prologue. Okay. The rest of us soldier on alone, navigating into unmapped territory, with only our dubiously accurate artistic compass as a guide in which we place an appalling amount of faith. Indeed, our entire life depends on the accuracy of its frail, quivering needle. What great sense. While fervently swearing to anyone who would listen for the last 8 years that I did never write another damn book, I found myself inexplicably jotting down a list of chapter headings with associated imagery in adjoining folders for the book I wasn't going to write, and they went like this. 1, early promise. 2, don't tell me you don't have enough time to make work. 3, no, it doesn't say 3. As Elizabeth Strout said, next, bad ideas, really bad. Can't throw a dead cat. If at first, parentheses, or try again. Leaving home. Lists are your friend. Making mistakes work. Many, many life mistakes too. Mature poets steal. Maybe some pictures just shouldn't be taken, or the morality of art. Monkey. No such thing as too much kudzu. Rejection after rejection. Too dark to take pictures. Besides, it was cocktail hour. Trespass. Well has run dry. Those are alphabetized. The first letter. Maybe it comes out of the computer. Okay. Looking back at it, I think it's still a pretty good start for a book about the creative process. But on the day I sat down and started actually writing the damn book, I wasn't going to write. It turned out that what I had to say was about more than just how I made my pictures. It was about all the other things that both buttress the art-making life and hinder it. Like dogs, for instance. Where are the dogs on that list? Every artist needs a dog. Every human needs a dog. Rescue a dog right now. But nowhere in the many books I've now read about the creative life does anybody talk about the importance of dogs. And I probably won't either, but they're right up there with all the other artists' essentials. Among them, in my case, an abiding devotion to place, to my local, to borrow a concept from the poet William Carlos Williams. My particular place has been Virginia and the South in general, and I have written repeatedly, fulsomely, one might say, on the landscape that holds me in its thrall. The collapsing farmhouses, ruinous outbuildings, parish-list churches, kudzu-claimed telephone poles, long-forgotten cemeteries, and all around us, hillsides and mountains greenly serene under our cicada-seething summer sky. This is my landscape. Yes. This is my landscape, beating inside me like a second heart. And its protection has necessitated activism of various kinds, placing our land in conservation easements, renouncing petrochemical interventions, picking up trash along the roads, writing letters to my representatives, and of course, making donations, lots of them. Doesn't sound like an artist's life to you? Well, it is. Nowadays, it has to be. Years ago, my friend Ted Orland, more on Ted soon, used to sign his books, "Your fellow traveler, Ted." And that phrase was telling for Ted, and I hope my readers. The important thing was that we are all on the same creative road together, however far apart we are in other ways. But we can be brought together by the how those of us well along in our careers got there, how our lives racked up the miles. It is about more than technique or practice or even, yes, hard work. It is about how you live your life, because the life you lead is your art, and the art you make is your life. My daughter Jessie, a Renaissance woman, if there ever was one, proposes that the life suggestions I am making within this book apply not just to artists, of which she is one, but also to scientists, of which she is also one, and to other travelers along many disparate and varied career paths. I hope that that may prove to be true, although I can write only from my perspective as an artist and a writer. And from that vantage point, I know the creative life invariably includes a rich, overflowing, varied, and complicated other life. Not just good ideas, the right equipment, and a Guggenheim grant to buy you time. Has there ever been a Guggenheim applicant who did not say that they just needed more, who did not say what they needed was time and the money to buy that time, of course? Just look at this journal entry, if you can believe it, 1970. It says, okay, it's hard to see. It says, finding the time, gotta find the time. Already worried about not having enough time, and I was 19. All I had was time back then. Lots of future, but barely any past. Hardly any history or memories at that green age. Now, for real, I gotta find the time. At my age, close to handing in my dinner pail, all I have are memories and hardly any time. That may not be all bad. It may be that art making requires not only that you be stressed for time, I found that a full-time job helped with that, but also that you be creative in patching up the crappy equipment you found lying in the dumpster, by the dumpster, be as thin-skinned as a naked mole rat, and be convinced that the well has run irreversibly dry and that you will never make another good image or write another good sentence. Convinced. Oh, and it never hurts to be impoverished, too. That old parable about the starving artist and the garret, Picasso living in squalor, burning his drawings for heat, Dolly Parton waiting for a sibling to wet the communal bed for a few moments of warmth. There's something to that. I do hope that's gin in the glass. He has a photograph here. She likes gin. Okay. How are we doing? Well, should we keep going or should I pause? There's Well, it's another page and a half. I'll just go through it and we'll do it. Okay. I really gotta get a better prescription on like reading or get readers or something. Like it's getting harder. Okay. For years, pinned Pinned above my desk was a cartoon from the New Yorker in which an old man and a young boy are sitting together in what appears to be a city park. The button-nosed boy, whose endearing over-by telegraphs to us his credulity, is earnestly gazing up at the big-bellied, spats-wearing old coot, who imparts this pearl of wisdom. Always exaggerate. It makes life seem more interesting. I'm with the coot on this one, she says. Sally. So don't believe everything you read in this book unless I tell you what I had for lunch 15 minutes ago. And you shouldn't entirely trust the excerpts from my letters because, as the old man advises, in writing to my distant friends, I had to somehow make my life seem more interesting. When we talk about the past, as William Maxwell observed, we lie with every breath we draw. Most of the time, it's not even on purpose. It's just the sanity imperiling treachery of memory. Like most everybody, my memories are spotty and whimsical, some elements showing up in vivid detail, others receding, like those tapestries in which certain colors fade over the years, leaving others, often wrongly, predominant. And within that tapestry are great lacunae lacuna in plural, cunae. Gaps in my past where the threads fray and disappear. I take comfort in the late critic Peter Sheldall's observation that even my hero Proust had a lousy memory. He points out that there is no little patch of yellow wall in Vermeer's view of Delft, a memory Proust's character Bergotte conjures just before dropping dead of disappointment, or, so he surmised, undercooked potatoes. Proust's memory always appeared to me to be self-sharpening, but perhaps it's as unreliable and mendacious as everyone else's, constantly revised and overwritten. Even letters, which Janet Malcolm claimed to be the fixative of experience, the fossils of feeling, are not always a conduit to unmediated reality. In reading mine, I have occasionally found a gusher full of genuine emotion, usually outrage or regret, or most often self-doubt, so deep it masquerades as swaggering bravado. You won't be fooled. You will see through the bluster and spurious peacockery until you get to the truth, or something very like the truth. As, winking, a friend's mother once split-haired to us. Or something very like the truth, as, winking, a friend's mother once split-haired to us. To be sure, there has been some drama in my life that even I found unnecessary to enrich with hyperbole, and hilarious coincidences too improbable to be believed in anything but Wolfian fiction, as well as tragedies too profound to even relate. In other words, I have lived a regular life, like the one you are living right now. This book is written by an old woman, primarily for young artists and writers, with the vain and vainglorious hope that some of it will make a difference in the way you organize. Yes, I did say organize. Your creative practice, and that it might help you avoid some of the pits into which I fell, and fell deeply, I might add, wasting a lot of time. Which in this book I will try to show isn't maybe all that bad, and also making some piss-poor art, which is not all that bad either, as long as you know the difference in the end. The end is where I am now, and I am studying many of the artistic and life choices I made, scratching my befuddled gray head at why I chose one picture over another, or why a picture I now love got tossed in with the losers, and why on earth I would decide to live in Lil Chicken Switch, as Cy called our sleepy little town, instead of a bustling art metropolis. Why writing weekly letters to a friend 3,000 miles away was important. And speaking of miles away, why would I tear myself from my farm, my darkroom, from my 9 dogs, for Christ's sake? To go across the globe to photograph an alien landscape that I knew absolutely nothing about. And what was I thinking? Wearing rubber dime store flip-flops to New York City. Why does a stubborn woman keep taking the same damn picture 1,000 ways? These are some of the mistakes and decisions and questions I will write about here, the answers to which seem obvious to me now at the end, or something very like the end. Artwork, Sally Mann on the Creative Life. All right, there you go. Happy holidays. Be well. Keep making stuff. Hang in there. Ignore the crap out there. It will pass. Okay.